Welcome everyone. So today we will learn about nitrogen cycle, nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycle, right? So before we start learning that, let us recall what all things we have learned up to now. What all things we have learned? Hydroponics, right? Why do we require it, right? What's the significance of it? Yeah. Then out of all the elements present in the soil, all of them are not going to be useful for the plant, right? So what is going to be useful for the plant? Depending on that, we have decided what? That there are 17 essential elements. And how did you get to know about it? You got to know about it by having criterias, right? So we had decided of how many criterias? We had decided of 3 criterias. Yes. And after that, we divided this essential element into macro and micro depending on the quantity. How much quantity is required by the plant for their growth and development. Yeah. Then what else did we discuss? We discussed how plants absorb the minerals. So most of it is what? Active process. But the absorption happens in 2 phases, right? Absorption happens in 2 phases. The first phase is what? Apoplast, and the second phase is what? Symplast. You know that in apoplast it was passive through the dead part, and through symplast it was what? Active process when you have to take minerals into the cell, right? What else did we learn? These minerals can be part of what all major things? These minerals can be part of 4 things, right? It can be component of 4 things like structure, making any energy releasing compound, activating or inhibiting the enzyme, right? So like this we had discussed that they can be component of 4 things in the plant. Yes. And after that we had discussed about what? Role of macro and micro nutrient. Role of macro and micronutrient, right? Where actually it is required by the plant, and if plant is absorbing it, in what form the plant is absorbing it, and if it is below the critical concentration, the plant starts to show deficiency symptoms. So what deficiency symptoms majorly you are going to get? That is what we had learned up to now. Talking about the homework, I hope everyone has done it. I had texted you. So I have got replies from Swati, Raj, and Azam replied few minutes back. Yeah. So I hope you all have learned role of macronutrient and micronutrient. Yes. Yeah. It was not just for saying, right? You have actually learned it. Okay. Chal. So that's that. Now you know what critical concentration is. It is that minimum concentration of mineral, that minimum concentration below which the plant will get diseased, below which the plant will start to show deficiency symptom, or you can say plant growth will not happen. The plant growth will be retarded. The plant growth will be retarded. Okay? So let me just check out how many of you remembered the things. I had told you necrosis is a deficiency symptom, right? Death of the tissue. It occurs due to deficiency of what all elements? It occurs due to deficiency of what all elements? What all? Cook, ka, mug. Right? What else was there other than necrosis? Delay in flowering. Delay in flowering. Do you remember? Delay in flowering. You will see due to deficiency of what? Delay in flowering. Yes? Yes or no? How will you remember it? You can have your own way to remember. Namak, right? Namak. And in English, namak is called as salt, right? Salt, namak. Or one of my student has recommended this. Narendra Modi is there, right? Narendra Modi, Sir Narendra Modi or Sri Narendra Modi, and he belongs to Bhajpa, right? He belongs to Bhajpa, BJP. So BJP has what sign? Flower, Kamal, right? Yes. So Sri Narendra Modi, Kamal, flower. If flower is there, then you will say what? Delay in flowering. Then you have what? One more is there, which is inhibition in cell division. Just check it out. I am writing it correct or not. Inhibition of cell division. In this also you will have what? Sri Narendra Modi. Yes, Sanam. All right. So whenever Sanam, if a person becomes Sanam, the life gets destroyed, right? तबाही मच जाती है life में. So everything will get inhibited. The cell division will also get inhibited if anyone becomes Sanam. Right? Chalo. The next thing was what? Chlorosis. Chlorosis. Do you remember? What is chlorosis? Lack of chlorophyll formation, right? Then you get the condition chlorosis. So there were so many elements which were causing what? Chlorosis. There were so many elements which were causing chlorosis. Yes or no? What were they? Can you check it out? What were they? For chlorosis. First start with all N. N. Only one element is there starting with the letter N. After that, start with M. Mg, Mn, Mo. Nitrogen, magnesium, manganese, molybdenum. And after that, what is remaining? Potassium, sulfur, iron. Potassium, sulfur, and iron. Right? Potassium, sulfur, and iron. So these will show you which deficiency. If these become deficient, what they will show? Chlorosis. Yes? Okay. I think we have done one mistake, right? NKSMO. That does what? Inhibition of cell division. NKS. Yeah. Here you should have K. Right? Inhibition of cell division. The word which has flowering, the word which already has flowering will not have Kamal. The word which already has flower will not have what? Kamal. K for Kamal. The word which has flowering already will have only Sri Narendra Modi. It will not have flower Kamal. The other one will have what? Flower as well. Okay. So these are the elements. If they become deficient in the plant, they can show different symptoms. Right? Then if you remember mobile element and immobile element concept, I have taught you already. Mobile elements, for example, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, they are mobile. The symptoms first you get in the older part because that will get moved to the younger part of the plant, right? But if the element is immobile, it will remain. It will remain with the older part of the plant. It will not come to the younger part. That's why the symptoms first you will see in the younger part of the plant, right? Calcium, sulfur. These are the examples for immobile elements. Yeah. Now next topic is toxicity of micronutrients. Even this little bit I had taught, right? Why are we learning toxicity of micronutrients? Because you know for micronutrients, what is the limit? Micronutrient should be less than 10 millimole per kg. Micronutrient should be less than 10 millimole per kg. You know it, right? So if the amount is increasing by by this 10 and that element is a micronutrient, then that element becomes toxic, right? That is one criteria. But for sure, when are you going to tell the element has become toxic? When the element is reducing the dry weight of the tissue by 10%. For example, it was of 100 kg. Micro element started to increase. And when it started to increase, the weight of the plant has got decreased to 90 kg. Before it was 100 kg, now it has become 90 kg. So the weight got reduced by 10%. If that happens due to any micronutrient, then for sure you will say the micronutrient has become toxic for the plant, because instead of increasing in the growth is getting retarded, right? So that is the toxicity of micronutrient. When will you say? Whenever any mineral ion concentration reduces the dry weight of the tissue by 10%, then you can say the mineral has become toxic. The mineral has become toxic. For example, manganese toxicity. Whenever manganese is more in the plant, the symptom which has been observed in the plant is what? Brown spots. There will be what? Brown spots. There will be brown spots surrounding the chlorotic vein. What do you mean by chlorotic vein? The veins which do not have now what? Chlorophyll, right? So due to manganese toxicity, what symptoms do you get? Brown spots surrounded by chlorotic vein. Brown spot you will get, and that will be surrounded by what? Chlorotic veins. Lack of chlorophyll. They will not even look green, right? So this is one symptom. But due to more manganese, it interferes with the absorption mechanism of iron. Then what else? Iron, magnesium, and calcium. Due to more manganese, iron, magnesium, and calcium, these three are not getting absorbed perfectly by the plant. It is not allowing the calcium to go up in the shoot. It is not allowing the calcium to go up in the stem. It is not allowing magnesium to bind with the enzyme. You can see how bad it is, right? Manganese toxicity. So because of more manganese, these all are lacking in the plant. And due to that, since they are lacking in the plant will start to show multiple symptoms of lack of iron, magnesium, and calcium, because they became deficient because of more manganese. And that's why the plant will start showing you the deficiency symptom of iron, magnesium, and calcium. And that happens due to manganese toxicity. Is it clear? So that is your toxicity of micronutrient. Okay? Now, mechanism of absorption of element. I have already taught you this, right? Mechanism of absorption of elements. So what is the mechanism? There are two ways. There are two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, it goes to the apoplast way, which is passive. In phase 2, it is symplast, which is active. In all, the movement of ion, what do you call movement of ion? Flux, right? Flux. When there is inward movement of ion, you call it influx. When there is outward movement from the cell, you call it efflux. Is it clear? I have taught this already, but since I am taking you through NCERT lines and lines, that's why I am just telling you this again. Okay? Now, how exactly translocation of solutes take place? Translocation of solutes. How exactly does it happen? Translocation means what? Carrying the solute using the vascular bundle. When you carry the solute using the vascular bundle, you call it translocation. Now, how are you going to take these minerals to the upper part of the plant? How are you going to do it? With the help of xylem. You know it, right? In transport in plants, I have taught you that through the xylem, not only water, minerals also go along with that. Water plus minerals. Yes. So water plus mineral, you call it as xylem sap. Water plus mineral, you call it as xylem sap. So this xylem sap will be taken by the xylem. Now, how is it taken up? Same way, how water is taken up? By the transpiration pull. Similarly, the minerals will also be taken up by the transpiration pull, right? Now, we did so many experiments to prove it that the minerals go along with the water. We used radioisotopes mineral so that it can blink. So, when in the xylem movement is happening, and we have minerals, radioisotope minerals, that will blink in the xylem. So we will get to know, yes, the minerals are moving through the xylem, right? So we did several experiments by which we got to know that, yeah, really, the minerals move from xylem. Okay. Now next topic is what? Soil as a reservoir of essential element. Soil is very much useful for the plants, right? It is reservoir of essential elements, you know it. है ना? You have a rock. What happens in the rock? Weathering. Weathering is what? Breakdown. When breakdown happens, you get soil. You know that rock has a lot of minerals, right? You know it that rock has a lot of minerals. Yes or no? Yes, it has a lot of minerals. So all those minerals, where are they? They are mixed with the soil, and now they have become minerals mixed with the soil. With the soil, the plant is going to, from the soil, the plant is going to absorb the minerals, right? And that's the reason why the chapter name is Mineral Nutrition. This is the reason. Although you know it, there are some non mineral elements which are not absorbed from the rocks, which have not come from the rocks, like carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, which come from carbon dioxide and water, right? But apart from that, if you see all other elements, plant is taking from the soil by weathering of rocks. That is one thing. Second thing is what? Soil also provides so many microbes, so many bacteria, because plant cannot absorb gas. Plant cannot absorb N2 gas. You know, nitrogen is absorbed in the form of nitrate, nitrite, ammonium. Plant can't absorb nitrogen gas. You need to convert it into a form which the plant can absorb, and that is nitrogen fixation, and that is done with the help of microbe. From where these microbes are coming? These microbes are coming from the soil. The soil is providing it, right? The soil provides water, soil provides air, soil provides the microbe, soil provides the mineral. Basically, soil is something which provides proper stability to the plant. Without, soil is like a parent, like your parent. Your parent gives you everything, no, whatever you require, and finally you get a stability in your life, right? Similarly, for plant, soil acts as what? A family. Soil acts as the parent. It stabilizes the plant, gives bacteria, gives microbe, gives water, gives air, gives mineral, gives everything whatever it can, right? So that is soil, which is a reservoir of essential element. Soil is the go-to person. For whom? For the plant. For plant, who is the go-to person? Soil. Right? Whenever plant is in trouble, soil helps them. Cool? Yes? So whenever there is a lack in the soil, there is some lack of element in the soil, the plant starts to show what? Deficiency symptoms, right? If any soil is lacking in some mineral, the plant is not getting that. Because of that, the plant will start to show deficiency symptoms, of course. That's why what happens? The agricultural scientists, they come to the land, है ना? They meet the farmer. Farmer says that I have got very good quality of seed. After that also, I am not getting good grains out of it. What can be the reason? Then what that scientist does? He takes the sample of the soil, takes it to the lab, studies the soil, finds out what all minerals are lacking in that. Once he gets to know that these minerals are lacking, he gives what? Fertilizer, in which that minerals will be provided. है ना? If phosphorus is lacking, potassium is lacking, nitrogen is lacking, depending on that, he will give what? The fertilizer. So in the market, fertilizers are available according to the requirement of the soil. In the market, medicines are available according to what disease we get. है ना? Similar to that, if the soil is lacking in the mineral, we have a lot of fertilizers out there in the market from where we can get it. Right? So we can combine macro element, micro element to make the fertilizer out of it. Okay? Now the last topic of this chapter is what? Nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle. So we all know that nitrogen is 78% in our atmosphere. How much percent is 78%? From the time you took birth till now, if anyone asks you, you get the same data. You give the same data to them. It is 78%. How is that it is getting maintained every time, every year, every now and then? How is it possible? The only reason which is possible, right, is what? That there is a cyclic thing happening, right? One after the other, one after the other. Something is repeatedly done, right? You know it, like carbon cycle, phosphorus cycle, nitrogen cycle. We have a lot of species, a lot of microbes, plant, animals, all of them help in maintaining this cycle. For example, I have nitrogen, I die, nitrogen goes into the soil. Again, plants obtain the nitrogen from the soil. Someone will eat plant. Someone will eat plant, herbivores. Herbivores will get nitrogen. Now those herbivores, carnivores will eat them. Carnivores will get nitrogen. Now plant, animal, everyone, one day they have to die. Again they get mixed with the soil. Again the new plant will obtain the nitrogen from the soil. This is how the nitrogen cycle keeps running. The nitrogen cycle keeps running. Got it? So nitrogen is very, very important for the growth and development of the plant. It can be constituent of, it can be the constituent of protein. Basically, it is same thing. Amino acid. Amino acid will make protein. Hormones are nothing but proteins. Most of the hormones are what? Proteinaceous. Chlorophyll, many of the vitamins, all of them will have nitrogen in them, right? So plant have to do what? They have to compete with the microbe, right? Microbes can also utilize nitrogen. If any living organism is dead in the soil, microbes will come to take the nitrogen. At the same time, plants also want the nitrogen. So plants have to competition with the microbe for the limited nitrogen that is available, right? So that is available in the soil. Okay, the nitrogen is a limiting nutrient for both natural and agricultural ecosystem. Natural and agricultural ecosystem means for plant also it is limited. For the bacteria, natural ecosystem, for bacteria which will come and decompose the dead matter, for them also it is limited, right? So there is a competition all the time. In nature, if you see, in atmosphere, nitrogen exists as a gas N2, N triple bond N. The problem here is that plant cannot obtain this N2. Plant cannot absorb this N2. That is the problem. Plant cannot obtain this N2. Gas hai na, it is a gas. That's why we require fixation. We want to convert it in some form that the plant is able to absorb it. Convert the nitrogen in some form in such a way that the plant is able to absorb it. The process of conversion of nitrogen to ammonia is called as nitrogen fixation. Basically, you should understand that conversion of nitrogen in some form that plant is able to absorb it. That plant is able to absorb it, right? Because plant cannot absorb gas. Diffusion of gas is impossible to take place. So it has to be converted to some form, some ion that plant is able to absorb, right? Now the thing is, how many ways are there? How many ways are there to convert this N2? There are so many ways, you know. God, the lightning, the thundering, lightning thundering can convert N2 into nitrates, you know. It has a lot of energy, lightning and thundering. It can directly convert N2 into what? Nitrate, nitrites, nitrogen oxide. Not only this, even the factories which are running, the industrial factories, forest fire is happening, the power generating stations, right? DVC and all, DVC where electricity is generated, powerhouse, all these places, lot of energy is coming out, right? And all these have the power to convert this nitrogen into nitrogen oxides, right? Two things, you got it. Now what is the third thing? Let's say any living organism is dead, dead organic matter. So in our body nitrogen is there, no? In our body nitrogen is there or not? Then microbes will come and act on us. Microbes will convert that nitrogen into maybe ammonia. That ammonia will be converted into nitrite, nitrate, and then plant will happily absorb it, right? So let us learn these three things first of all. What did I tell you? That Bhagwan, God, nature's power, lightning and thundering, that can directly convert nitrogen into nitrates, oxides. Similarly, the industries, factories and all, factories, artificial you can say, that can also convert nitrogen into oxides. Then if there is any dead organic matter, microbes will act on it. Microbes will act on it, and then maybe there is, you know, stepwise process. Ammonia you will get, right? Ammonia will get converted to nitrite. Nitrite will get converted to nitrate, and finally the plant will absorb it. So this is another process, right? I hope you know this. When this happens, na, when microbes are converting the nitrogen of dead organic matter into ammonia, that process is called as ammonification. What do you call this? You call it ammonification. Ammonification. When this ammonia is getting converted to nitrite and nitrate, this process is called as nitrification. This is called as nitrification. This is called as nitrification. Got it? Now, how is this possible? It is possible with the help of bacteria. Now, the bacteria which will help in converting the nitrogen which is found in dead organic matter into ammonia will be called as ammonifying bacteria. Ammonifying bacteria. The bacteria which will help in conversion of ammonia into nitrite and nitrate will be called as nitrifying bacteria. Nitrifying bacteria. So which bacteria will be doing this? This will be done by nitrifying bacteria. Nitrifying bacteria. This will be done by ammonifying bacteria. Ammonifying bacteria. Is it clear? Now what we need to do is learn the name of the ammonifying bacteria, which you don't have to do because it's not there in NCERT. You need to learn what? The name of nitrifying bacteria. The name of nitrifying bacteria. Okay? Now come back here to the diagram of NCERT. See this very carefully. Atmospheric nitrogen is there. Atmospheric nitrogen. Electrical N2 fixation means what? By lightning, thundering. That is electrical N2 fixation, which can give you nitrates. Industrial N2 fixation means factories, industries which are going on. They can also convert nitrogen to ammonia, nitrite, and what? Oxides, nitrates. Then the next thing is what? Biological, where you are using what? Living organisms. Biological, where you are using living organism to convert nitrogen into ammonia. Now next is what? If there is anything dead, there is any dead organic matter, plant or animal. Plant or animal, if they are dead, they are decaying biomass. So what is the process? Ammonification. You will get ammonia. After ammonia, you will get nitrite, then nitrate. This is nitrification, right? So all these will get absorbed by the plant. Plant will take it, uptake. Plant will take it, uptake. Now, some of the nitrate, some are getting absorbed by the plant, some are again going back to the atmosphere. Some are again going back to the atmosphere. And if this nitrate is again getting converted to nitrogen, what is that process? That is the reverse process of nitrification. So what will you call? Denitrification. When the nitrates again get converted to nitrogen, that process is denitrification. Denitrification. So atmospheric nitrogen can be directly fixed by thundering lightning, can be directly fixed by industries and all, and can be directly fixed by microbes as well. Then here, from the dead decayed mass, here also microbes will act, microbes can act, and microbes can convert it into ammonia. And here you will call it as ammonification, nitrification. And then if it is again going back to the atmosphere, denitrification. There is any doubt, you can let me know in the process. If there is any doubt. Okay? If there is any doubt, you can let me know. Any doubt is there? Yes, no? No. Okay. Now we can read it line by line. Just read it once. In nature, lightning, ultraviolet radiation, they have enough energy to convert nitrogen to the oxide of nitrogen, right? Similarly, industrial combustions, forest fire, even the automobile exhaust, power generating stations, they also have the energy and they can convert atmospheric nitrogen into oxide of nitrogen. Other than that, the organic matter, the organic nitrogen present in the dead plants and animals, that can be also converted. When that is converted into ammonia, you call it as ammonification. Some of the ammonia gets volatilized, matlab Volatile nature. Volatile means it can get evaporated. It can get evaporated and can get mixed in the environment. That is the meaning of volatilizes. Some ammonia can get volatile and they can re-enter the atmosphere, but most of it is converted into nitrate by the soil bacteria. How? See, ammonia you have got. This ammonia oxidation will happen. This ammonia will get oxidized with the help of bacteria. It will first become nitrite. Again, this nitrite will get oxidized and it will become nitrate. This process of conversion of ammonia to nitrite and nitrate is called as nitrification. And the bacteria which is doing it is called as nitrifying bacteria. What is the nature of this nitrifying bacteria? They are chemoautotroph. Chemoautotroph means they can make their food themselves with the help of what? They are getting the energy by the chemicals. Right? Now the question over here is, which bacteria is acting over here? Nitrosomonas or Nitrococcus? Here what is acting? Nitrosomonas or Nitrococcus. And in the second step, nitrite to nitrate, Nitrobacter is acting. Nitrobacter. Okay, how will you remember? The step which is coming later. The step which is coming later has which alphabet? B. Nitrobacter. So B comes first, right? B comes first. So the step which is coming later has what? The letter which comes first. The letter which comes first. So ammonia getting oxidized into nitrite. What are they? Nitrosomonas and Nitrococcus. They are the nitrifying bacteria. After this, the nitrite gets converted to nitrate with the help of what? Nitrobacter. Nitrobacter. Right? The second step, which is coming later, has which bacteria? The bacteria which has what? The letter which comes first, B. Right? This is the way, this can be the way to remember. You can have your own way, obviously, to remember it. What is the nature of nitrifying bacteria? Chemoautotrophs. Is it clear? Now, obviously, plant will absorb them. Plant will absorb the nitrate. What plant is going to do after absorbing it? After absorbing it, again plant will do what? After absorbing it, again plant will make maybe amino group, because nitrogen is used in making amino acid. You know that amino acid should have amino group carboxylic acid, right? This is one amino acid. This is the basic structure of amino acid. This is the basic structure of amino acid. One carbon, one carboxylic acid group, one amino group, one hydrogen. And along with that, here you can have anything, any group. So nitrogen is coming, nitrate के form में. Now this nitrate, obviously if plant has to make amino acid, plant will convert that into amino group and then plant will start making amino acid. Right? Okay, just read it out. The nitrate absorbed by the plant is transported to the leaf. In the leaf, it is reduced to ammonia. In the leaf, it is reduced to again ammonia. Why? Because it has to form amine group. What is amine group? NH2. That's why first it will make ammonia, NH3, and then it will make what? Amine group, NH2. Why? To make amino acid. All right. Now the next, this is over now. Now it is talking about some nitrate present in the soil. They are reduced to form nitrogen again. Again it can be formed nitrogen, and the process is called as denitrification. Which bacteria helps in this? Pseudomonas and Theobacillus. Pseudomonas, PT. Pseudomonas and Theobacillus, that helps in denitrification. What is the bacteria called as? Denitrifying bacteria. Pseudomonas and Theobacillus. Pseudomonas and Theobacillus. So this is the normal thing which we have learned, right? Normally what is happening, that we have learned. Now the next is biological nitrogen fixation. Biological nitrogen fixation. Do we have any living organism which is able to fix N2 directly? Do we have any living organism which is able to fix N2 directly? We have some prokaryote. Only some prokaryote species are capable of fixing nitrogen. They can reduce nitrogen to ammonia. So if you are converting nitrogen to ammonia with the help of living organism, if you are converting nitrogen into ammonia with the help of living organism, you will call it as what? Biological nitrogen fixation, because you are doing it with the help of living organism. Okay, there are very few living organisms which can do it, right? And they are mostly what? Prokaryotes. So if you are doing it with the help of prokaryote, if you are converting nitrogen into ammonia with the help of living organism, that is called as biological nitrogen fixation. Now, what exactly do these prokaryotes have that they are able to fix nitrogen into ammonia? What do they have? They have an enzyme, nitrogenase. They have an enzyme, nitrogenase, which is capable of fixing this nitrogen, converting this N2 into ammonia, which is present exclusively in prokaryote. And these microbes are called as N2 fixers because they are able to fix nitrogen. N2 fixers. Clear? Now you can see some of the bacteria name which are able to fix N2. Some free living. They can be free living or they can be symbiotic. They can be free living in the soil and they can fix nitrogen, or they can be what? Symbiotic. They can be in association with some plant. Okay? Free living or symbiotic. We are seeing the example of free living. We are seeing the example of free living for now. For now, we are seeing the example of free living nitrogen fixers, free living prokaryotes, which can fix nitrogen. And what is the nature? Aerobic. What is the nature? Aerobic. What do you mean by aerobic? They require oxygen for their respiration process. Okay? What are they? Azotobacter, Bergerinia, Bacillus, Cyanobacteria, Anabaena. Okay? What about Rhodospirillum? Rhodospirillum is free living, but it is anaerobic. Please remember this example. Remember rhodospirillum? Rhodospirillum? Rhodospirillum. What is the nature? This is anaerobic. Anaerobic free living, which can fix nitrogen. Other than that, all are what? Aerobic and free living. Other than that, Azotobacter, Bergerinia, Bacillus, they all are what? Free living. So basically they are chemo-autotroph. These are chemo-autotroph. Azotobacter, Bergerinia, Bacillus, Rhodospirillum. They are chemoautotroph because from chemical they are making their energy. But when you see cyanobacteria and Anabaena, what is the nature? Cyanobacteria, for example, Anabaena and Nostoc. Anabaena and Nostoc, they are cyanobacteria, example of cyanobacteria, blue-green algae. So Anabaena and Nostoc, what is the nature? They are photoautotroph because they can use the sunlight to do photosynthesis. All right, they are chemoautotroph. All these are chemoautotroph. Anabaena and Nostoc, they are what? Photoautotroph. All of them are free living. All of them are free living. All of them are aerobic except one, Rhodospirillum. Rhodospirillum is what? Rhodospirillum is free living but anaerobic. Free living but anaerobic. Please write this. It is very confusing, this paragraph. Rhodospirillum is anaerobic, does not require oxygen. It is free living but. Other than that, Azotobacter, Begerinia, Bacillus, all are free living and aerobic. Similarly, cyanobacteria, for example, Anabaena and Nostoc, they are also free living and aerobic. They all are free living nitrogen fixers, right? Since this paragraph is little confusing, they frame the question from this paragraph. Okay? So please keep that in mind. That is all for today. There is any doubt, you can let me know. Okay? You can let me know if there is any doubt. If there is any doubt. Otherwise, thank you so much. Next class, we are going to learn about what? Symbiotic nitrogen fixers. Now, whatever I told you, all of them were free living. Alone, they can fix nitrogen. They don't require the help of anything. Right? Now, we are going to learn what in the next class? Symbiotic nitrogen fixers. We will see that they will be along with a plant and then they will fix the nitrogen. Symbiotic nitrogen fixation. And finally, we will learn how plants use this nitrogen. In what form the plants use the nitrogen. One to you saw just now that they convert it into ammonia. From ammonia, they convert it into amine group, NH2 group, so that they can make amino acid. Okay, so 2 topics are remaining which will be completed in the next class. Okay, thank you so much. See you.